Hey, let's find out the difference between spermatogenesis and oogenesis. To understand this better, let's have a look that in our body mainly two types of cells are present. One is somatic cell and another one is germ cell. Now, the somatic cells are those cells which are responsible for growth, and these are basically normal cells, while the germ cells are those cells which are responsible for the formation of gametes, and these gametes are sperms and egg. Sperms are produced in male while eggs are produced in female. Now we are going to discuss about the spermatogenesis and oogenesis. So basically this spermatogenesis is a process of formation of sperm. The process of formation of sperm is known as spermatogenesis, while the process of formation of egg in female is known as oogenesis. So these are the two terms, spermatogenesis and oogenesis, which means formation of sperm, that is called spermatogenesis, and formation of eggs, that is known as oogenesis. Now let's have a look on some major differences between these two. First of all, if we are talking about the spermatogenesis, then the spermatogenesis process takes place in the testes, which are present in the male in a pouch-like structure called scrotum. Now, the spermatogenesis basically is done in mature and fertile males, while the formation of eggs, that process is known as oogenesis, that takes place in ovaries in mature and fertile females. Apart from this, from one spermatogonium, four haploid sperms are produced during spermatogenesis, and this process is done by a process that is known as meiosis. Meiosis is actually a type of division which is responsible for the reduction of chromosome number. So the meiosis is done in these cells, and as a result, from one diploid cell, four haploid sperm cells are produced, or we can say from one spermatogonium, four haploid sperms are produced during the spermatogenesis process. While if we talk about the oogenesis, then here also meiosis process is done. But here the difference is that only one haploid body is produced. Why? Because a polar body is produced in them. That's why here from one oogonium only one haploid body is produced. Now the spermatid developed which are formed or which are developed, they undergoes a process which is known as metamorphosis, and in this process basically spermiogenesis takes place. That is, we can say the development and some maturation of sperms goes on, that is known as spermiogenesis. While in case of the oogenesis, this is not there. There is no such process of metamorphosis or we can say some maturing process, that is not present here in oogenesis. Now, if we talk about spermatogenesis, then in this one, the spermatid development takes place, which later becomes a functional sperm, that we know which process is known as spermiogenesis, in which the spermatid which are developed are later on produced as a functional sperm. While in case of oogenesis, here ooted development does not take place during oogenesis, and it is developed only and only after the fertilization. So that is the difference between spermatid development and ooted development. In spermatid development, here the development takes place later in life, while in case of here ooted development, it develops only after the fertilization. After this, some major other differences are here, that firstly spermatogonia, primary and secondary spermatocytes, and spermatid. These all are produced during the spermatogenesis process. While if we talk about the oogenesis, then in this one, oogonia, primary and secondary oocytes are formed during oogenesis, while Here, the ooted formation takes place only and only after the fertilization. So this one is major difference between spermatogenesis and oogenesis. After this, in male, we know that sperm formation takes place at the time of puberty, while in case of oogenesis, here the eggs are already present in the fetal. Now, these early stages, in even early stages, it occur and during fetal period as well. The rest process, which basically is the development of more mature egg cell, that is done after the puberty, and this whole process is kept on until the menopause. So basically that is the process during which the menstruation cycle gets starts from puberty until the menopause. After this, the sperms which are produced in male reproductive system, these are the motile gametes, that is they are capable to move. And why they are capable to move? Because they have a tail-like structure present in them, which is responsible for their movement. While if we talk about the egg cell, then here the produced gametes are non-motile, that is they are not able to move. Now let's have a look on this image. From this one it will be more clear to you to understand spermatogenesis and oogenesis. So firstly, if we are talking about the spermatogenesis, then we know it starts at the time of puberty here. And after this one, after the puberty, mitosis differentiation occur. Later on, primary spermatocytes are formed. After this, primary spermatocytes are formed, first meiotic division takes place. As a result, secondary spermatocytes are formed, and in this one, the chromosome number has reduced. Here you can see, here the number of chromosomes has reduced. Earlier it was 46, now it is only 23. That is, from diploid, haploid cells are produced. After this, during the second meiotic division, the similar process which is followed during the mitosis is followed, and here we can see that the number is doubled here. From one secondary spermatocytes, two spermatids are formed, and from this one also two spermatids are formed, and later on differentiation, or we can say maturation, goes on. After this, spermatozoa, or we can say the functional sperms are formed. Here these functional sperms are produced. So we concluded in this one that from one diploid cell, here four haploid cells are produced, and these sperms are motile. Why? Because they have a tail structure present in them. Now, if we are going to talk about the oogenesis, then in this one, here you can see in fetal life only, here the oogonias are present, and all the mitosis differentiation is done only in the fetal life, and after this primary oocyte is formed. Now, primary oocytes are arrested at this stage from birth to puberty. When once a woman or lady get enter into the puberty, then here the meiotic division starts, and after the first meiotic division, here we can see secondary oocyte is formed from the primary oocyte. And from the secondary oocyte, here ovum is produced, but here we can see that first polar body and second polar body is produced. That's why only one haploid cell is produced from a oogonia. From an oogonia, only one haploid cell is produced. While in this one, in case of spermatogenesis, four haploid cells are produced. After this, we can see in this one that how oogenesis and spermatogenesis look like. So in this one, primary oocyte, these are diploid in number. After this, secondary oocytes are formed, and after that, here we can see that ovum is formed. Here we concluded that from one primary oocyte only one ovum is produced. The other produced are here polar bodies. It can be first polar body or second polar body, or we can say primary or secondary polar body. After this, in case of spermatogenesis, here we have the primary spermatocyte, which is here we can see 2n or diploid in number. After this, secondary spermatocytes are formed, and later on spermatids and functional sperms are produced. Here we can see one diploid cell, from one diploid cell, here four haploid sperms are produced. Four haploid sperms are produced. So these are some basic differences between spermatogenesis and oogenesis.